Anyway, right, 4th of September 2013 was the day I achieved my lifetime ambition. Graham was actually at the musical event and he said to me, how did this come about? And this led to this 2020. And I started to go back and say, well, it happened because of this. No, it happened because of this. No, it really happened because of Friday the September 40, 50 years before, when I was 11 years old, and I heard Joseph Allen, in my very first boys club meeting, playing House of the Rising Sun on a guitar. And I just thought, that's what I want to do. I want to play the guitar, and I want to play House of the Rising Sun. So that led into me playing with bands. George there had a very unique guitar, as you can see it's fur-filled, and also has anything from 5 to 9 guitars. Chap over there, we kicked out the band, and he joined Gaelic and LIL. Don't know what happened to them. Did a couple of hits, I think. So that went on for a little while. Then I moved to college in Edinburgh and met my girlfriend, who ended up as my wife. Eric appears later on in the show as well. But we had huge musical differences and stopped playing together for 30 years, but we stayed married. People can't believe that we did end up getting called on a stage one occasion. They didn't know we didn't play. I moved to Wiltshire and played in an Elvis Presley impersonators band, which came about because I totally lied. And I said I had all this career in Scotland playing music, which was totally untrue, but they believed me. And that led into a sort of jazz band thing we did. And that was really the start of my search for a real band. But then I had 30 years off. Family, career took over, but I still played the guitar every day. And you can see that I'm trying to inculcate some young people into music as well. And then eventually I came to the decision, look, I really want to play in a really good band. I've never played in a band that I felt we knew what we were doing. And unbeknownst to me, the battalion wanted to start a jam session. And he started to buy all the equipment, bought guitars, drum kits, PA systems, and that just took off. And we ended up having like 12, 15 musicians, 60 people there on a Thursday night. And really from that was where my first real band at the age of 50 odd took off. And I was asked if I would be part of a band which was, oh no, this was before that. We discovered that the reason Frank, the hotelier, wanted to start the jam sessions because he always wanted to be a blues brother. So we ended up appearing at the little show in Ailith, which was fantastic. Happened for about 10 years. It was a bit of a secret because we couldn't publicise it because it was so popular. And then we ended up with Mama's Little Helpers. Willie played on the cruise ships for 15 years. Andy was a soldier, fantastic bass player. Alan played in the big bands in London. Couldn't be better for me. They were just fantastic. I was quite intimidated by them in the early days. But then there was a couple of diversions. My pal Gifford offered me a gig over in Oban. But what he didn't tell me was it was usually a solo, but it needed to be for 2 people. And he had diabetes and he needed a driver. So he didn't need me to play the guitar, he just needed me to drive him over there. So it was a little bit of a diversion. Then we tried another thing, for 40 years after Woodstock, let's have a little session. We only did it the once. And as you can see, my goodness, my wife is on the stage with me for the first time in God knows decades, which was lovely. Started to speak about music again. And then I thought I really want to get back into playing, so I played in a little restaurant in Blairgowrie, and the guy said, I've got this room upstairs, I want it to be a music room. I said, well, I'll do it for you if I can be the artistic director. And he said, okay, we'll call you the artistic director. And that resulted in various people playing. And then I got offered the chance to put LIL Jimmy into the McQueen's music group. LIL Jimmy had a fantastic career. He was 73, I think, when I met him, from Alabama. Anyway, so I had negotiated for him to come. What I hadn't realised was that the negotiations had consisted of me providing 3 days accommodation for him. So I had to go home to my wife and say, I've got this old guy coming to stay with us. What's he like? I've no idea. But he turned out to be absolutely great. And it resulted in a friendship that made myself and my son go to Alabama to see him. My wife wouldn't go, and she said, but you're not going on your own. So Stephen is going to look after you. So without, and it really was, as my son described it, an adult dose. It was fairly frightening at times. But anyway, we ended up in his little studio, having a chat with him. Absolutely fantastic. And that then led on a little later, when he had come over to appear at a festival in Belgium, England, and then he was going on to Ireland. But he had 3 days off, and so he needed a vacation. So I said, well, send him up to Scotland. And I knew if he came to Scotland he'd want to play. So I put together what was my dream evening, really. That's Eric that you saw in Edinburgh, still back playing. And we had little Jimmy. He treated the night as if it was a festival. He a true professional. I couldn't believe when he put on his good stage clothes just for 30 people in Ailith. And that's what ended up being my lifetime achievement. And little Jimmy has just come back from a festival in Brazil. Thank you very much.